Hi, welcome to the Intervino School of Wine. I'm Cyrus Chahardeh, and today we're going to be looking at how to taste wine. We're going to see why it's absolutely important that you learn to taste wine the proper way. You must have seen it on TV, in films, in tastings and the likes, wine tasting. The swirling, the smelling, the calling out of names, but is it really useful? Is it something you need to learn about if you have no intention of being a wine professional? The answer to this, of course, is yes. If you want to be serious about your wine and you really want to learn to appreciate it, wine tasting is at the very base of all this. It gives you the base understanding that's needed to move forward and really get into wine. Wine is a multifaceted drink. There's a lot of things happening, and some of those small details, the tiny aspects that you don't appreciate if you don't really look at the detail, won't be blatant to you. And wine tasting allows us to do this in the depth of wine, to look at and appreciate the details, just like a top car. It's more than just a loud motor. There's sound, which you need to appreciate. The power you get to feel, the feel of the steering wheel, the feedback from the road. There's the interior, the use of different materials, the stitchings. It's a sum of so many things you learn to appreciate. Wine is just the same, and the better the wine is, the more there is happening. So, how exactly do we go about wine tasting? What is it that we need to look out for? Wine tasting is done in 3 steps, in 3 phases, and in each phase we're going to try to concentrate on one of our senses. So, what do you need before? What is it that you need to have a wine tasting? All you need pretty much is a wine glass. This is a glass that needs to have a stem, a head, tulip-shaped head, and a foot. The stem is to hold the glass by. Don't hold the glass by its head, where your hand would, number one, warm up the wine, but secondly, it's going to leave finger marks on the glass, and it's not a very nice thing to do. Of course, the other thing you're going to need is wine. So, step 1. We are going to start by using our sense of sight, our sight. We're going to analyze the color of the wine. So we're going to examine the color, and what is great is that our sense of sight is probably the most developed of our senses. To do this, we're going to tilt the glass 45 degrees forward, and we're going to look at the surface of the wine, the real shining surface. We're going to look, is the color the same everywhere? And you're going to notice it isn't. In the center, we're going to have a darker color, which is not the same as where the wine touches the rim. This is the rim of the glass. This is what we call a gradient. Have a look. Every time you have a wine glass in hand, tilt it forward and have a look and try to see if you can spot that change in color from the dark in the middle going towards a lighter color away from you. Step 2, the nose, the sense of smell. This is the most romantic part of tasting. In this step, we're going to study the aromas, the smell, the bouquet of the wine, and we're going to use our sense of smell. To do this, we're going to put our glass down, swirl it. So we put the glass down on a flat surface, and we're going to, holding it by the stem, make it go around in our circular motion. And we're going to make the liquid inside swirl around. It's going to make it easier for us to analyze the smell, the aroma. So off we go, we swirl, and we're going to simply put our nose inside the glass and try to analyze what it is that we can spot, what aromas come out. You see, the oxygen has melted, has blended with our liquid, and it's going to bring up the aromas, and our tulip-shaped head is going to funnel all that towards our nose. We're going to try and see if there are any aromas that we can pick up. Does it smell of fruit or flowers or herbs or spices? It isn't easy in the beginning, but the more you do this, the more you're going to be able to pick up different aromas. Finally, we actually taste the wine. Now in this step, we're going to use our sense of taste, using our taste buds that are situated on our tongue. Contrary to popular belief, there are only 5 tastes: sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and finally umami. These are the only tastes that our palate can pick up. So we're going to try and think at where, on a scale of say 1 to 10, the wine stands on each of those tastes. Now, I told you, contrary to popular belief, there are only 5 tastes. That is because things like it tastes fruity or it tastes of blackcurrant are not really tastes, but they're flavors. This is when our sense of smell brings an extra dimension to the wine. This happens through a phenomenon called retro-olfaction. This is basically when the wine in our mouth releases aromas that are picked up from the inside of our mouth and up our nose. This is then picked up by our brain as a taste, but it's actually a flavor. This is exactly why when we've got a cold and our nose is blocked, we feel we can't taste anything. We can taste. So you will pick up sweet, sour, and bitter in wine, but you're not going to pick up the actual flavors. So how is it that we actually taste the wine? What's the technique we use to strengthen the taste, to make it easier, like the swirling for the smell? Well, for the taste, it's pretty easy to do, although it has a bit of a tricky part. So first, we're going to start by putting a small amount of liquid into our mouth, and instead of swallowing it straight away, we're going to whirl it around the tongue. We're going to whirl it all over the inside of our mouth. Just like when you're rinsing your mouth after having brushed your teeth, you rinse your mouth. We're going to do exactly the same, but with wine. Then we're going to tilt our head slightly forward, bringing the wine to the front of the mouth, and we're going to slightly relax the lips and create a tiny little gap at the same time. We're going to inhale a bit of air through the liquid and then tighten the lips again to close and make sure we don't have wine all over our shirts. So we're going to do this. Little smell again, the pleasure of a wonderful wine. And that's it. So you can either swallow the wine, like I've just done, wonderful wine, or you can spit it away if you have a spittoon, but it's not a very nice thing to do on camera, so I'm not going to do that. So we can do this a couple of times. This is going to basically explode the taste and the flavors in our mouth, and you're going to be able to appreciate all the small flavors and the tastes much, much more. And when you've done that, that's basically it. You're ready to go out there and really taste wine and appreciate all its little secrets. So next time you've got a glass of wine in hand, remember, try this. Try tilting the wine, looking at the color, try smelling the wine before swirling, and again then swirl, and you're going to see the difference between the swirling and not the swirling. Try to taste a bit of wine, and then try to do that again with the swirling around the palate, the tilting, the slightly inhaling and oxygenating, and you're going to see how big a difference it's going to create. You're going to see how much more you can appreciate that wine. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to wine tasting and this introduction to wine appreciation. Of course, we're going to have plenty more videos and guides coming up, so do make sure to follow us. In the meantime, if you've learned anything, I'd love to know. Please do leave us a comment down in the comment section below. What's the one thing you've taken away from today's guide? Also, do let me know when you tried this tasting method. How was it? How was it for you? How was the wine different? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on this tasting technique. Have a wonderful time, and I hope to see you soon.